Welcome into the Sports Buffoons podcast. Anyways, I wanted to kind of talk about that for a minute because since I'm going to Vegas, I need some ideas of what's the best thing to do in Vegas. It's in Las Vegas.
Well, let me just start it off here by
The expert
saying
right here.
that I have been to Las Vegas at least 15 to 20 times. I've lost count. But we all know that they have the best shows in the world. So if you like to watch shows, except that, you know, during the pandemic, we can't actually watch shows. But they have the best shows in the world. They have the best food in the world because all of the, you know, major celebrity chefs, they all have restaurants out there. So you got the best shows, the best food. But the only thing I care about is baccarat. If you want to go out there and gamble, the best game to play in Las Vegas is baccarat because it has the best odds. And although it's intimidating, it is actually the easiest game that you can ever play because you're basically betting on heads or tails. You're flipping a coin. So I mean it's pretty easy. And so that's how I make my money when I go to Vegas is I play baccarat.
Do you have a specific spot to go check out for baccarat?
Yes, actually I do. Planet Hollywood
New Year's Day Planet Hollywood
is really good, and the Luxor. And the reason I like those places is because you can get in for like 15 to 20, maybe $25 a hand. And
Vegas,
so
that's
you
pretty
can,
good.
yeah, in Vegas, I mean, you play $15 a hand, you can sit there forever and just get free drinks. And if you get lucky, I mean, you might get free drinks and make money.
Jason, you've been to Vegas a lot of times, and I think that's not the most fun you've ever had there. I think there was a time you jumped off the stratosphere out there, and that was probably a good experience for you. We've also been together a couple different nightclubs out there.
Yep.
Had a good time out there. Now, I don't know what they're like these days. Not that I want to go to one. But I don't know. As far as like doing something adventurous in Vegas, I don't know. What do you guys have in mind as far as that goes, Tanner? Because I know you joined me for a couple different times, I think. Mm-hmm. And so, what was the most fun experience you had in Vegas when we all went out?
My favorite part, besides walking up and down the strip, I love the ice bar, dude.
I knew you'd say that.
Shops. I love the ice bar.
I knew you'd say that.
It's just so cool. It's literally so cool, but it's cool.
Wow, so cliche.
I know, right? Get it? But the fact that the one time, you know, Mike broke an actual ice glass while we were at the ice bar, kind of made that the thing. But man, they had different mixed drinks there, and I don't know. It's just a different experience. You don't get that at, I don't think, anywhere else around here, at least.
Yeah, I mean, Mike, I'm glad you brought up the club scene because, you know, I used to be in the club scene, but now that I'm married, not so much. But they do have also the greatest clubs in the world.
Yes.
Yep.
But, yeah, as far as jumping off buildings, for whatever reason, I did not get nearly as nervous jumping off of the stratosphere at my bachelor party as I did gambling. And so I just get so much more adrenaline flowing when I'm gambling than I did jumping off the building. But maybe that's just because I'm not afraid of heights, and I thought it was just a great time.
Yeah, you couldn't get me up those stairs. So.
Yeah, I'll be going out there. Obviously, it's November right now, so trying to figure out what I want to do. The pools are probably not open, I assume. It's going to be like 60-something, 70 degrees. 60 at night, 70 during the day kind of deal. So it's not going to be like a lot of things. And half the country's shut down right now, it seems like. So I'm not going to have a lot of options, I don't believe, but we'll see how things go. I was actually told earlier today that the governor of Nevada currently has COVID. So, I mean, I don't know how it's going to affect anything I'm doing. But I don't know. I've always enjoyed going out to Vegas, and I've enjoyed a little bit of gambling here and there. Bathing pools are just wonderful. Have a lot of fun experiencing those. I highly suggest going to European bathing pools. It's luxurious. I mean, you can do whatever you want in there. It's wonderful.
Where do you find those?
There's a couple different places out there. You just got to walk around a little bit and search around, and you will find the right option for that.
Yeah, if you've never heard of a European bathing pool, just Google it, and you'll figure it out real fast.
I agree with the ice bar though, Tanner. I'm a fan of the ice bar. Ice bar. I've been to the ice bar now probably like 4 times at this point. Now that I go every year.
Oh, I'd go every time I go up there.
It's fun. It's cool to hang out in there for a bit and chill out. But no one's ever ridden the roller coasters, I guess, at New York, or anything like that. You've done that?
Yes,
Jason's done that?
Yeah, it was a great time. It wasn't quite as good as jumping off of the stratosphere. But that's a great roller coaster out there, and I think I actually I rode on it 7 times in a row.
Wow!
My first time on it, and that was a great time.
Didn't Ray ride on it for Jason's selection?
We did ride on it, but we
and actually rode
not. It. Yeah, I don't think we did. Ray was
I didn't ride
up in the morning doing weird things while you and I were recovering from the drinking from the night before.
And that's okay in Vegas. You can do weird things. You can do whatever you want when you get out there.
I mean, let's be real. The biggest adventure is walking back to your hotel at 7 a.m.
The sun's coming up and you are obliterated. Yes, that happens every once in a while. I know for me, I'll be shooting some guns out there on Friday morning, so that'll be a lot of fun. I'm going out to a gun range and shooting multiple different, very high-powered, different styles of guns. Draco,
Are you going to go to Topgolf?
Not going to Topgolf, Tanner.
We have a Topgolf in Kansas City.
Yeah,
thank you very much,
Jason,
for pointing that out. We have a Topgolf in Kansas City that's just wonderful enough that I don't need to go to Topgolf.
Come on, Tanner, you're wasting valuable time right now.
Right. So speaking of valuable time, let's move on with our next discussion. Now, as we all know, Las Vegas is a adult fantasy playground. And so speaking of that, I want to get into a little fantasy discussion real quick with you guys, because we are nearing down the barrel of the season when teams should either know what they are or they know what they're not. Because either you're in or you're out at this point. If you're sitting right now and you're 5-5, that's fine. You have a shot. Make some moves. Do something different with your team and your lineup on your fantasy team. Make a trade. Start thinking of ways to put yourself over the top so that way you can get in the playoffs, and at least from there you give yourself a shot and a chance to continue to win games. I know for myself, I have 2 fantasy teams. Both of my leagues, I'm 5-5 right now. So with that being said, I'm talking to myself almost because I need to make a move. I need to make a trade. I need to be looking at other teams' rosters. I need to be looking at how can I benefit myself to get to where I'm 7-5 and then getting myself into the playoffs of my fantasy league. So my biggest piece of advice for anyone out there who's listening, if you have 6 wins, 5 wins in your fantasy league, is that you need to be making a trade to get a high-powered piece. Be willing to give up your bench, give off one piece of your bench, give off one piece of your starters to get a higher value starter. I have one friend that I know personally who was asking me this week, hey, is it crazy if I give up Darren Waller and Joe Mixon for Travis Kelce? I'm like, what?
No.
I'm like, dude, you're asking me if it's crazy if you do this? No. Give that offer out, and if that guy has a problem with it, then bump it up. He also showed me he had Justin Jefferson on his team.
Ooh.
I'm like, dude, offer him Jefferson, Mixon, Darren Waller, get Travis Kelce. This is a bona fide piece. This is the number 1 tight end in the fantasy football world. Get the big piece. Go win your damn league. What do you guys think?
Are you sure that it was Joe Mixon or was it Booby Dixon? Is he still playing in the league right now?
Well, Joe Mixon might as well be Booby Dixon to me at this point. I'm not a big fan of this. Not anything personal, but I'm not a big Joe Mixon guy.
All right. Well, I got a little bit of advice right now because if any of you guys out there went RB0 in the draft, like yours truly, then you're going to be looking for some running backs right about now. So I got a couple of guys. One of them is J.D. McKissick. He was 40% owned before last week. He is now 69% owned. This guy, wait for it, he had 29 targets in 2 weeks, guys. 29 targets in 2 weeks. And that's because of none other than check down Charlie, Alex Smith, for the Washington football team. Okay, and I was desperate since I went RB0, so I've actually had J.D. McKissick on my team for 4 weeks now. But if he's still available in your league, you might want to consider picking him up. The other guy is a running back out of Miami called Salvon Ahmed. He was 5% owned last week. He's now 55% owned. You might want to get your hands on him because Miami released Jordan Howard, and Salvon Ahmed had 21 carries, 85 yards, and a touchdown last week. So it's just a couple of backs. If you guys are desperate, or maybe you're not desperate, you're just trying to add a little bit of depth to your team, those are a couple of guys you can look at.
Very interesting. Very interesting picks. And yes, Alex Smith is a starting quarterback, guys, and he'll continue to be.
55 attempts? Is that what I saw?
Yeah.
Oh my
It was
god.
a career. It was literally he broke his career high
Yeah,
with that. So
that's crazy.
hey, more power to him. All right, this segment here, guys, is brought to you by 2-8 in 2 leagues. Disappointing heartbreaks, injuries, facing the wrong team on the wrong week. Those Patrick Mahomes guys that scored 60, aka Jason here. So this one's for you guys. At 2-8, it's not looking going into this week. It's not looking good at all. You're not really going to make some big moves. You could see where you can go, but it's not going to look good. So here's what I want you to do. You have to continue to be motivated to do your lineup, get free agents, so that way you can kick your buddy out of the playoff chances towards the end of the year. If that's any kind of thing you're going to do, is to kick your buddy out of potential playoff with 1 or 2 good weeks at the end of the year. So that's all I'm going to say at 2-8. That's my advice. Keep playing. Don't be the guy that just sits out and plays a bunch of bye weeks. You could disappoint one of your buddies, and it's going to be great. I promise you.
Yeah, I agree. You kind of saying the other way around a little bit, to where if you're on the verge of making the playoffs and you're 5-5 or something like that, or close to it, you need to make a move to go expand your team. So basically, take the 2-8 Tanner over here, go search that team and be, who's a good player on that team that I could take from him, and then insert him to my starters. It's going to benefit me going down the road for the last few weeks of the season and into that playoffs. So that's your team, Tanner, in particular. I haven't really looked at your roster, but I'll be wanting to look at and go, who does he have?
I got a few guys, I promise you, that's on there that you'd be interested in.
I was like,
I'm literally losing games because the other person has a 50 or 40 break each time with a couple players.
Also, people out there, you need to understand, whenever you are that team that's on the verge, playoffs or not, kind of deal, and you want to make a push to make the playoffs or a push to go dominate. If you've got 8 wins right now, 9 wins right now, you want to go dominate, those teams who are sitting with 3 wins or 2 wins, they are willing to give up those big pieces.
Willing's a strong word,
Yes,
guys. It's a strong word.
Willing to give it up.
I don't necessarily know if I'm willing.
Well,
Then
here's the
I
thing.
lose my piece to kick you out of the playoffs come the end of
But
the
at
week.
the same time, you have less of a care than you did before 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, but I still want to try to win games.
Of course, you're not going to give up on the season by any means. But basically what you'd be offering is more depth on your roster for your team because you lack that. That's why you went 2-8. And in my case, it's like, okay, well, I'd rather take a big piece while depth.
2-8 because I get injuries.
Well, no, I'm not telling you. I'm not
Okay,
bashing
never
your
mind.
roster, Tanner. Nothing like
you're
that.
you're
I'm just
talking
being
in
perspective
general.
here
Okay,
about the way
okay.
things were. I'm not nagging you here. You know when I give you crap, but I'm not doing it right
Yeah,
now. I'm being
okay,
honest
okay,
about
okay.
my people out there in their fantasy league. They're listening. This is what I'm trying
Most likely
to
that's
put
your
in perspective.
case, is what it is.
Basically, go get the big dick that you need. So
That's fair.
Well, let me play devil's advocate here just for a second, because if you're 2-8, it might be more important to you to just play the spoiler role and ruin everybody's dreams. So you may not want
exactly
theirs.
right. That's what I'm coming at. is
Right.
I want Travis. I have Travis Kelce on my team. I want to keep him because he could ruin somebody's season
Absolutely.
at the end of the week.
And I agree with you on that. If you can ruin somebody's year,
Hey, I'm in. For
just
that.
ruin it.
And I gotta have one kind of win in there. So yeah, I mean that could be
And-
Mike towards the end of the year.
there's some leagues, obviously, that they can trade draft picks. You know, and it might ruin me. We'll see. I beat you this past week, by the way, Tanner.
Yeah,
Let's keep that in mind. But it's one of those things where some leagues have draft picks as well, so you can kind of maneuver that. You have draft picks where for the season going forward, now you have an incentive to want to give up draft picks so that we can win your league for the current year. And I suggest doing that too. If
Yeah,
you're sitting in a position where you got 8 wins, you need one more big piece, one more big wide receiver, big tight end, whatever, to get you over the top where you're going to win that league and you know you're going to win, then do it. Do it. Don't be passive.
Sell the
Be
farm.
aggressive in
Sell the
fantasy.
farm.
Be aggressive. Sell the damn farm, right?
Sell the farm.
Sell the damn farm.
I like the sell farm. Yeah.
Sell the farm.
Jason loves selling the
That
farm.
might come into play later in our NBA discussions.
That might be.
Ooh,
Just a little
well,
teaser there.